Hey, so welcome everybody. This is Talking Health with Dr. Artis. And tonight I have a very, very special guest. He's also a good friend of mine, Dr. Ruby Powell. It's just a pleasure to have her. It's such an honor to have her because I just see she's such a light wherever she goes in any room. She lights it up. It's just infectious personality and just such a powerful Black woman. So I want to let her introduce herself. I hope I did a good job of introducing you. Who is Dr. Ruby Powell?
Well, you did an amazing job introducing me. You probably did a better job than I would have done myself. And it's really an honor to be here with you tonight. I am Dr. Ruby Powell. I am a coach, a counselor, and a consultant. That's the three words that describe me. I'm a coach. I'm a life coach, a business coach, a career coach. I am a counselor. I'm a trained counselor, licensed counselor, and I'm also a consultant. I
Okay.
consult with small organizations as well as corporate organizations.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So one of the things what I did is I created a support group to actually help people to get used to the new norm, right?
Uh-huh.
So right now we can't do the same things, or we shouldn't do the same things that we did last year. But hopefully, out of this group, that we come out of this thing and this quarantine, as we're coming out of it, moving into different phases, a lot healthier than when we actually went into it. And
Yeah.
a big part of that, and why I asked you to come on, is just talking about mental health, talking about just what do we need to do to actually put ourselves in the best position, because it's overwhelming. I mean, I've had people that actually get checked into the hospital from anxiety attacks,
Yes.
from not being able to handle the day-to-day pressures. What's something that you would say to the people out here that are watching this, are going to see this, that actually need that here's something to actually get them a different perspective?
Well, the first thing I would tell people to do, and this is going to sound very simple, simplistic, but to take a deep breath.
Wow.
Because honestly, this thing hit all of us by surprise. It caught all of us by surprise. And even myself, as a person that works predominantly from home in my home office, it still kind of caught me off guard. So the first thing I would tell people to do is take a deep breath. We'll get through this phase. The other thing that I would say is you have to create a new normal for yourself, because for some people, they're having to educate their children for the first time. And of course, with the assistance of the school board and the schools that they attend, but also people who are accustomed to getting up, going out to work every day are now confined to their homes. And so now they're in much smaller spaces with people that they live with, but don't necessarily spend a whole lot of time with because of school and because of work assignments and all of that. And so one of the things that my family have done, and again, like I said, it's a lot of it was routine for me because my kids are homeschooled as well. So we already spend a lot of time together.
Okay.
But some of the things that we did to keep from going stir crazy is that we found another level of bonding with each other.
Mm.
We found more
Oh,
time to spend together. We found more ways to have different types of conversations together. We have learned how to play board games together. We have created a weekly game night. And
oh,
so we just learned how to spend time together. Does it get a little tight sometimes? Of course it does, because we're not accustomed to spending that.
uh-huh.
Bonding is being intentional about bonding is something that have really helped us to not just completely go stir crazy and lose our minds.
So to like, do you guys have this plan? Like, what's a typical day like in your household?
Well, my day and my husband's day start at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, starts before 6 o'clock because we're part of a daily prayer call from 6 to 6:30. And so from there, the day gets kind of flexible depending upon what our work assignments are. Right now, the kids are not in school, and I just kind of made a conscious choice not to school them through the summer because of all that they've already gone through in terms of the shelter in place. But it's a pretty fluid day,
Is
after
there,
our call.
excuse me, is there a speaker?
I'm sorry,
Is there a speaker? Is it rubbing against a speaker or something?
I don't know. It might be me
Okay.
and this. Okay.
Okay.
Might just be me moving my
Okay.
hands.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But our day is pretty fluid, and we typically spend, we usually eat breakfast around the same time every morning. where we just talk about what our day looks like. We spend a lot of time, even when we do have to go out, we spend a lot of time commuting together. And so we just kind of start out planning our day, but we are intentional about making sure that we have meals together, and sometimes putting our phones down. Sometimes it's a matter of putting our phones down and learning how to communicate the old-fashioned way.
Right. That's what I have been saying, that there's a silver lining in this quarantine thing for families, because it is bringing us closer together. It's funny you said it. My wife has just told me, she was like, we've lived in this house, over 10 years. This is the most we've lived in this house. Yeah. And that really kind of stuck with me. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. Like, we've eaten together in the last 3 months more than we've had probably in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And everybody together, and you have to be intentional about it, because even with the television on, you still got, from, the COVID quarantine news to what's happening with Black Lives Matter, riots and stuff, and all the different things on the news. How do we navigate that? What's the conversations like with your kids? You got kids that are younger and some that are older. I mean, What's the conversations like?
Well, I have 3 teenagers, a tween, 2 teens, and an adult. So I have a 12, a 14, and a soon-to-be 16, and then I have a 28-year-old. And of course, they're not oblivious to the things that are going on around us. They see the news. We don't watch a lot of news. We've been very intentional in the last couple of months of just making sure that we don't inundate ourselves with all of the things that are going on. We watch just enough news to keep up with what's going on in the world. And then we talk about it, because they'll come and ask questions. Mom, what is that all about? Why are people burning up stores? Why are people rioting? Why are people looting? And we take the opportunity to use it as a learning experience for them. Wow. We talk to them about the importance of our voices being heard. We talk to them about productive ways of protesting. We talk to them about the difference between a peaceful protest, where we're allowing our voice to be, as Martin Luther King says, our protest to be the voice of the unheard. And then we talk to them about the unproductivity of the looting and the burning up the stores and all of those things, and the economic impact that it's having on our society. So those are some of the types of conversations that we have with our kids, and we allow them to give us feedback on what they're feeling about it. Because the worst thing that could happen is that they come out of this this situation that we've been in totally traumatized. And so we also try to make sure that they know that our home is a safe place. This is the place where we protect each other. We protect each other by making sure that we're always emotionally okay, that we're spiritually okay, and that we're physically okay.
Wow, that is so powerful. I hear the strength in your voice, and your kids are blessed to have a mother like you and a husband like Tony.
Yeah.
Just because I look at you guys as a role model, even for myself and my family. So, that's one of the reasons why I had you on. I'm just in awe, man. Just listening to you, like, I'm learning, sitting here taking mental notes, and I'm trying not to write at the same time. But but looking at this stuff too, like, okay, going forward, where do we go from here? Like what's the next? Like, the new norm now with social distancing, is that necessarily healthy mental wise, or where do we go from here? Like, what's your take on that as an expert?
Well, as an expert, I think what we're experiencing now, a lot of it will become our norm. It will, we will have more instances of using technology to communicate with one another. It's very, very difficult for people who are very social people to engage these days, because when we do see people, we see people with masks on. It's, sometimes you can see a person that you've known for a very long time and don't even recognize them, because 3/4 of their face is covered with a mask, and all you see is their eyes.
Right.
You can't hug people anymore. Right. So for people whose love language is touch, it's very difficult. And so we have to find more creative ways of being able to communicate with one another in this next season. We have to take opportunities to have virtual coffee dates. A friend of mine introduced that to me. She texted me one day and said, "Hey,
virtual coffee date?
Yes. She texted me one day and said, "Hey girl, I miss you. Can we have a coffee date?" And I this was about 2 months ago. And I said, "A coffee date? Well, we can't go anywhere." She said, "Virtually." So we connected on a Zoom call. She had her coffee, I had her coffee, and we just spent time talking about what was going on in our world, talking about what was going on with each other, and just taking it as an opportunity to catch up. So even though we couldn't sit across the table from each other, we could still make contact. We could still see each other's expressions. We could still feel each other's heart versus a phone call or a text message. And
That's
so
really
I
good.
think we're going to have to get accustomed to doing those types of things. There's all different types of video conferencing platforms that are being developed. And I've personally taken the opportunity to learn several of them because my clients are on some of my corporate clients are on different platforms. So I had to just stretch my learning curve and say, hey, this is something I've got to learn if I want to stay viable in business, as well as if I want to stay viable relationship wise.
So what does the word pivot mean to you?
Pivot means stay steady and shift.
I love it.
You know, even in basketball, even if
Yeah,
you're thinking
yeah.
about sports, when you pivot, you're not moving both feet at the same time. One foot is steady and you're still having to make an adjustment.
I love it.
So pivot to me means make the adjustment, but don't change from what you're doing.
Right.
Learn something new, be creative, be innovative, be next level, but stay steady in who you are and what you know.
Ooh, okay. Pivot, everybody. Yes. Now, one of the things you got now too that's is coming across my mind that I've been wanting to ask you. You got somebody out here that's struggling with like just tired of being quarantined,
Mhm.
tired of this being a new norm. What would you say to that person?
Um, well, what I can say to them is very limited until we really open up as a state again. But what I can say to them is take the time to reinvent yourself. Take the time to think about some of the things that you have dreamed about doing and learn a new hobby. I've thought about over the last several months. Now, I have been working nonstop. I have not stopped working. As a matter of fact, I'm working more than I was working before. But I have taken the time to pull some books off the shelf that I haven't read in a long time, or books that I've wanted to read that I haven't had an opportunity to read. I've started back crocheting and knitting and teaching one of my sons want to learn how to do those things. So I've been teaching him how to do those things. Just anything that you've ever wanted to do, now is the time. You have the time to do the research, to go on, my favorite friend, Google, and look up some stuff, find tutorials on YouTube for things that you want to learn how to do. There's also a college for those who want to advance their credentials. There's a college, a set of college courses that's offered by a platform called Coursera.
Coursera.
So Coursera, COURSESARA.com. And you can actually take college level classes. Some of them are free and some of them are very low cost where you can actually get credentials in certain things. And so this is the time to take the opportunity to advance your body of knowledge.
Okay.
Take the opportunity to learn a new skill. If you always wanted to open a business, take the time now to learn how to start that business or to how to run that business.
That's so
I've totally rebranded one of my businesses. I've totally rebranded, and I'm expanding some of my offerings.
What about the person that's in fear mode? They're worried about what other people think. I don't believe I can do it. I might be too old. I'm too young. I don't have experience. I don't have money. What was the conversation you would say to them?
Those people, I would say, connect with someone else. I am very, very big on accountability. I am very big on partnerships. And I think if social media is the best platform now to reach out to other people who may have the same interests that you have.
Right.
Particularly Facebook. Facebook got a group for everything. So scout around, find a group of people that have like interests. Maybe join some groups and scout around to find some people who are interested in starting business. Find people who may know how to find capital or find different types of resources for the business that you're interested in doing. There are all types of resources on the web. The World Wide Web has become our best friend.
Yes.
Because you can go on Google and put in anything. And I guarantee you, you can put in the most absurd statement, and I guarantee you that within seconds, something will come back.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That is so true. You can find anything to support or against anything.
Yes.
That's what I say, as far as research wise. Wow, this is powerful. This is very powerful. I think that the world needs to know who you are. And I hope that you're on track to doing that, because this is a very powerful woman. I don't think you guys understand it. This interview, I hope it did some justice that give you the light that you need. From that point on too, I got one last question I'd like to ask you, and I ask everybody this. If you had one statement to leave to the world and you want to be remembered by, what would it be?
The one statement that I want, the personal statement that I would like to leave with people, the personal message that I would like to leave with people is to make sure that you add value to someone else's life every day.
Man.
No matter how it is, whatever you have to do, whether it's smiling at a person, whether it's asking a person genuinely how they're doing, whether it's assisting a person. I think the thing that I want people to know is that as people, we have to add value to other people. And that's what creates relationships.
Wow. Add value. If you're not adding value.
If you're not adding, you're subtracting.
Subtracting. It's that simple. Wow. Wise words from Dr. Ruby Powell. How can people find you if they want questions or if they want to reach out to you about anything? How can people get in contact with you?
Well, they can reach me on my website at oasisempowermentzone.com, or they can find me on social media. I have 2 Facebook pages, one Ruby E. Powell, and then I have Dr. Ruby Powell on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter, Ruby Powell on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on all the social media platforms.
Wow. Well, thank you for, taking the time out of your busy schedule to actually let me have this conversation with you. And anything else that you want to add? Anything you want to say?
Well, I just want to let folks know that this is not going to last forever. And when we do get an opportunity to roll out, we got to be ready.
Right.
And so don't just sit on your hands, not doing anything during this time that you have to yourself. Do something productive so that when the world opens back up, you have something new to offer them.
Wow. Very, very powerful. Thank you so much, Dr. Powell. I will be speaking with you soon personally, and I thank you again. And then I'm going to share this on the Facebook page too.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.